Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about chili, the legendary, hearty, spicy, world-famous stew. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. The chili served in the Texas prison system in the 19th century was reportedly so good that former inmates would write letters back to the prisons asking for the recipe. What do you think? Could this be an actual fact, or is it just too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Today's word is chili con carne. That's CHILICONCARNE. This is the Spanish phrase that literally translates to chili with meat. And this, of course, is the full name of the beloved stew that most of us simply call chili. While the name is Spanish, the dish itself doesn't actually come from Spain or Mexico. It seems to have originated and certainly was popularized in Texas. Now, to break it down a little further, the word chili comes from the Nahuatl language, the language spoken by the Aztecs, and that was their word for the chili pepper plant. The second part of the name, con carne, is pure Spanish, meaning with meat. So interestingly, the name combines elements of the indigenous language of the Aztecs with European Spanish, and that kind of reflects the dish itself, a blend of cultures that came together in the American Southwest. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about chili. Number 1, chili was popularized in America not by restaurants, but by the legendary chili queens of San Antonio, Texas. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the open-air plazas of San Antonio, particularly the Military Plaza, would come alive at night. Here, entrepreneurial women of Mexican heritage, who came to be known as the chili queens, set up colorful stalls. They served piping hot bowls of their chili con carne to everyone from soldiers and laborers to tourists and even celebrities. They created a lively, festive atmosphere with music and storytelling, becoming one of the city's biggest attractions. These women are widely credited with introducing chili to a broader American audience and cementing San Antonio's reputation as the chili capital. Their version was typically a thick, spicy stew of beef, dried red chilies, garlic, and cumin, often served with bread and beans on the side, not in it. The Chili Queen's Plaza setups are even considered by food historians to be a very early precursor to the modern food truck scene. Number 2. The world's largest ever pot of chili weighed over 11,750 pounds. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, in 2018, a team in St. George, Utah created the biggest pot of chili ever. The final officially weighed pot of chili clocked in at a staggering 11,754.7 pounds. Just to picture that, that's heavier than 3 average-sized cars. The pot was custom built with stainless steel and heated with special burners. The record-breaking chili was a great community event. It required hundreds of volunteers and, as you can imagine, tons of ingredients. The recipe included 3,300 pounds of beans, 1,700 pounds of tomatoes, 1,200 pounds of ground beef, and over 400 pounds of onions. So, what did they do with all of that chili? After the official weigh-in, the thousands of pounds of chili were served free of charge to thousands of people at a local community festival. Number 3. In Texas, the official state dish of chili is passionately defined by what it doesn't have: beans. The beans versus no beans debate is probably the most famous chili controversy, and the state of Texas takes a firm stance. In 1977, the Texas state legislature officially proclaimed chili con carne as the state dish. According to chili purists and this official declaration, a true Texas style or Texas red chili is simply meat, often cubed, not ground, stewed in a thick, rich sauce made from dried chilies and spices. There are no beans, and in many traditional recipes, no tomatoes either. This strong opinion traces its roots back to the trail cooks and cowboys of cattle drives. They would pound dried beef, suet, a type of fat, dried chilies, and salt into bricks called chili bricks. These were non-perishable and could be easily rehydrated in hot water on the trail. In this context, beans were considered a cheap filler that diluted the pure, robust flavor of the meat and chilies. To this day, if you enter a chili cook-off in Texas, you better not put beans in that pot or you will be swiftly disqualified. Number 4. One of the most popular secret ingredients for richer, more complex chili is a little bit of chocolate. This might sound a bit strange, but adding a teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder or a single small square of dark chocolate is a technique used by many award-winning chili chefs. The key word here is unsweetened. You're not trying to make a dessert, you're trying to add depth. The chocolate's natural bitterness and complex roasted flavors actually enhance the savory notes of the meat and balance the acidity of the tomatoes. This actually taps into a longer tradition of Mexican mole sauces, which famously and skillfully blend chiles with chocolate. In a pot of chili, the chocolate adds a beautiful dark color and an almost imperceptible richness that makes the whole dish taste more robust and well-rounded. It also contributes to a slightly thicker, more velvety texture. And our fifth and final fun fact for today, the world's most famous chili competition, the Terlingua Championship, was started kind of as a joke. The legendary Terlingua International Chili Championship, held annually in the ghost town of Terlingua, Texas, is one of the biggest and most prestigious chili events in the world. It was founded in 1967 by a journalist named Frank X. Tolbert. The entire event was basically a publicity stunt to settle a friendly argument about who made the best chili, and they invited a few friends to come out to the desert to judge. The first competition was famously a draw between the entrants from Texas and New York. One of the judges, a humorist named H. Allen Smith, complained his ballot was indigestible after tasting the spicy entries and declared he couldn't choose a winner. The event was so absurd, remote, and fun that it unexpectedly got national media attention, and a beloved tradition was born. That friendly little competition eventually spawned the Chili Appreciation Society International, which now sanctions hundreds of cook-offs that raise millions of dollars for charity every year. Now for some news you can use. If all this talk of chili has your mouth watering and makes you want to step into the kitchen and develop your own signature recipe, chili con carne can be a great entree to hone those culinary skills. Making a delicious, basic chili is pretty simple, and a slow cooker can do almost all the work for you. First, brown 1 pound of ground beef in a skillet on the stove. Once that's cooked, transfer the beef to your slow cooker. Stir in 1 chopped onion, 1 chopped green bell pepper, 2 cans of undrained, diced, or crushed tomatoes, and for that classic chili flavoring, add about 3 tablespoons of chili powder and a teaspoon of cumin, along with salt and pepper to your taste. If you're not a Texas purist, you might decide to add a can of rinsed kidney beans. Give it all a good stir and then put the lid on and set your slow cooker to low for 6 to 8 hours. By the time you get home from work, you'll have a perfect hearty meal waiting for you. Of course, that's the basic chili. If you want to kick it up a notch, here are a few pro tips on ingredients to experiment with. To add a fantastic, deep, rich flavor, try stirring in a teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder or a small square of dark chocolate. It won't taste like chocolate, but it will cut the acidity of the tomatoes and make for a more robust flavor. Along similar lines, a tablespoon of strong brewed coffee or a little bit of instant espresso powder will make the beef taste even beefier, adding a wonderful roasted background note. Next, let's think about texture. If your chili ever comes out a little too thin or soupy, a secret ingredient can be masa harina. It's that very fine corn flour used to make tamales. Just mix a tablespoon or two with a little warm water to make a thin paste, and then stir it into your simmering chili about 15 to 20 minutes before serving. This thickens the chili beautifully and gives it a wonderful velvety body, all while adding a subtle toasty corn flavor. And finally, here's one last little tip you might not have thought of. After a chili's been simmering on the stove or a slow cooker for hours, the flavors all meld together nicely, but sometimes it can feel a little dull or flat. One trick to wake them all up right before you serve is to add a splash of acidity. Stir in a little squeeze of fresh lime juice or a splash of apple cider vinegar at the very end. This will instantly brighten up all those deep, rich flavors and make the whole bowl taste a little bit more vibrant. Of course, I'm not going to pretend to know it all, so if you have a secret ingredient you like to add to your chili, let me know in the comments if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube or anywhere else that allows that feature. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it's true that former Texas prisoners wrote letters back to the prison asking for their chili recipe. Well, that's a fact. It's been widely reported that in the mid to late 19th century, chili was a perfect food for feeding large populations cheaply, including in prisons. It was a hearty stew made from abundant and inexpensive ingredients like tough cuts of beef that were stewed for hours with lots of chili peppers and spices until they became tender and flavorful. This prison chili, which was often served simply with bread and water, became legendary among the inmate population. It's said that inmates would actually rate different prison facilities based on the quality of their chili. And oddly enough, upon their release, many former inmates found they genuinely missed the fiery, robust flavor of the stew. The Texas prison system reportedly received numerous letters from these men stating that the chili was one of the few things they enjoyed and actually came to miss about their time in jail, asking if the prison would please send them the recipe. So, oddly enough, the Texas prison system genuinely helped to popularize the dish. Of course, that wasn't the only touchstone that helped people discover chili. As I mentioned earlier, there were the Chili Queens of San Antonio, but another major event was the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, the Chicago World's Fair. A San Antonio chili stand was set up there, giving thousands of people from all over the country and even the world their very first taste of the spicy Texas creation, and its fame exploded from there. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about chili with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.